Hey everyone, happy Sunday. Hopefully you can hear me. If anybody jumps on, please let me know if you can hear me. I am jumping on. I'm sitting in a parking lot on a Sunday morning. My kid's taken his ACT, so I have used this time wisely. Give me a holler, those parents that are doing the same thing as me this weekend. This is the last kid of mine heading off to college. So hey, you saw my title that therapists are not, paid enough for the work we do. This is something that is absolutely inherent in the field, and unfortunately what comes with that is we have this huge burden of our student loans. So there's a discrepancy between what we spend on student loans and what we actually get paid in field. And so I advocate for clinicians to niche out, to build an expertise, because the research shows us that when we don't practice as a generalist, you can actually have higher fees, higher payout, and the generalist approach unfortunately really leads to very high caseloads for you just to make ends meet and pay your bills, barely. So one of the tools that I have created, in addition to the mentoring that I provide to incoming clinicians through different school programs, is the Untangled Mind Assessment Engine. So I just launched this last week, and it is a clinician decision tool. And this is why it's going to help you get paid more. So most of us, we barely talked about measurement-based care in our master's programs. Maybe if you went into actually psychology, you've done a lot more than clinical mental health or even social work. So we took a couple classes, or maybe one class on assessments. We talked about statistics, that sort of thing. But here's the problem. Again, we don't make enough money, and there's a gap. We've got to figure out how we can increase our pay. But how do we do that? Well, we have to prove our worth. And so there's a ton of free money out there, you guys. There's grants, there's opportunities within your state for you to advocate for your worth. There's better chances of higher reimbursement for your insurance providers. But how do we do that? Through measurement-based care. But how do we do measurement-based care? Well, listen, most of our EHR systems have those generalized standardized assessments, like the GAD-7 for anxiety, the PHQ-9 for depression, or the PCL-5 for trauma scores. These are great. So sometimes we have our EHR go ahead and send those out. So all we get, though, is we get different scores. We get a baseline score, and then we might get scores every month, or however we determine that we want to keep reassessing. So that's a first great part, is that if you are already implementing measurement-based care, you are ahead of the curve. If you haven't, I completely understand why, because you're left with like, what the hell do I do with these numbers? How does this actually help me? So this is where the assessment engine comes in. There is nothing out there. Nothing. This is something built by me for clinicians because there was a gap. We might get our numbers, but what do we do with the numbers? How does it translate into the treatment and interventions for the client that these assessments are for? We have EHR systems that give us a measurement-based care, like a PHQ-9 or a GAD-7, and then we also have the templates that the EHR can spit out for us. But there's nothing there. How do we bring the client's assessments directly into the interventions and the treatment plan? Well, I built the assessment engine to fill that exact gap. Number one, this saves you an extraordinary amount of time. Your EHR system is already spitting out the results. So what you do is you type them into the assessment engine. Here's the thing. Within 2 minutes, you input your GAD-7 results. Say it's 17 out of 17. So we know that that's a severe score for anxiety. You punch that into the assessment engine. Not only does it come up with output that says you need to consider these clinical cues. We need to assess, is this OCD? Is this some other form of anxiety? What is this tied to? Is it a specific phobia? Are we looking at GAD? What is it? Then it also is going to give you a severity cue. How severe is this? Now, the GAD and the PHQ-9, they already have severity banding created for you, but The PCL-5 for trauma does not have severity banding. All it has is a threshold score. So I have created an interpretive heuristic to allow you to understand how severe is my PCL-5, my trauma score of a 31. Well, if you don't know that assessment that's just sitting in your EHR, you don't know if this is a severe score for a PCL-5. And that's at the threshold, 31 to 33. But all that to say, the assessment engine spits that out. Then what it does, after it says you need to go ahead and do some new assessments, it's going to direct you to additional assessments for you to continue to make sure that you create a greater clinical picture for your client. And it doesn't stop there. Then what it does, you're punching in these measures, and what it's going to output from you there is it's going to give you your treatment interventions. It's going to give you, your estimated timeline. It gives you every single thing that you need for a treatment plan that's actively living within that client chart, and it takes you 2 minutes. So how does this help you make money? Number one, you're not wasting time and money. It takes about 2 minutes for you to punch in all of your assessments and for this output to come out for you. You just copy and paste. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's the presenting problems. Here are the interventions. And by the way, if you have a private pay or you just want to be really articulate with your data, I can tell you how to estimate how many sessions it's going to take them. So saves you time. Time is money. Second thing, we know that when it comes to reimbursement rates of insurance and what's currently happening in the United States with us clinical mental health counselors, that we have been charged with not being professionals. And so therefore there's become caps on how we go into institutions, how we can get a master's degree. Here's the thing, if you have data to prove your worth, you have a much better platform to stand on than, hey, I just subjectively know that I'm a good therapist. I think it's great that you think you're a great therapist, but you cannot prove it. If you don't have proof, proof does not equal more money. Here's the other thing. If you work within a private practice and you're 1099, guess what? You can actually go to that clinical director and you can negotiate your pay. Because listen, the clinician that's a generalist that uses no measurement-based care should not be paid the same per client as even a generalist you that uses measurement-based care. Do you see what this does? It elevates you as a professional in the field. It proves what you do. So proof equals money. Saving time equals money. And that is exactly why I've created the Untangled Mind Assessment Engine. And right now it is only $47. Listen, this is the beta version. I am working my tail off. I don't know what the hell I'm doing coding this thing. Big fat hairy dream is someday I will be able to afford to hire someone that can actually build this thing out. It's incredible. It's filling the gap. No one has filled this gap. I get it. People don't want to do measurement-based care. I understand that they kick and they scream about this, but I'm telling you right now, it doesn't take away from your creativity in session. It doesn't make you only adhere to numbers. What it does is it proves that you're a professional and that you don't only go by subjective measures. What you do is subjective. It's between you and that client in session. Absolutely. But you can say, yes, I'm highly empathetic and compassionate, holding space for this individual. And by the way, here's the data that proves that not only can I hold that space, but I am using interventions and tools that are making a difference in this human being's life. Who the hell wouldn't pay you more for that? So that's just my soapbox as I sit here in the parking lot of a high school while my kid takes his ACT. But I'm really inviting you to support the Untangled Mind Assessment Engine. I'm excited about it, y'all. I'm excited. I've got stuff in the works. I'm trying to build it more and more robustly, and there's stuff in the works. I can't say, but there's stuff in the works. So please support me. It's $47 for a lifetime. I'm going to be adding measures as I go. Currently, I have 22 validated measures. So you can imagine all of the data that I've had to input. Listen, this is not AI. This is Piper typing this in. It's ridiculous what I have learned to build a web-based app. This is not AI. This is a clinician decision tool. And so it really is, it's quite the effort that I've put in. I've been working on it for over a year. So $47 lifetime access. I'm going to be adding measures and everything that goes along with it as I go. You get all the updates. It's 47 bucks. And again, I'm trying to fill this gap. I know I am basically begging. I get that. But I really feel so strongly about the Untangled Mind Assessment Engine. I know I'm filling a gap. I know that your time is money. I know that you want to prove more than I do a good job. You can be highly compassionate and empathetic and hold space for people and do the data and science. It doesn't have to be either or. If any of you